Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. It is time for another weekly walkthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and go straight to the calendar. One of the things I wanted to mention, I have two assignments to look at from you from last week. So it will take me a little while, of course, to get through both of those. So I will give you some kind of thoughts. I have done a quick walkthrough of them for myself, just to kind of see where things are. There are some that have not been turned in yet, and a substantial number. So I'm just going to remind everybody that we are halfway through the semester. This is the week when you should be writing your argument essay, putting it into draft form, like actually writing it. And then we're going to be looking at at each other's. You're going to have a peer review. You're also going to have some feedback from me on that paper. And then by the end of next week, you will submit the final version of the argument essay. So we have been working on this now really since week 4, honestly. That's when you proposed your thesis statement, and I've given you feedback on every step of the way. So right now, what you should have in your possession would be the thesis with my feedback on that. You would have your annotating sources assignment, which there wasn't a lot to feedback on. If you did, did annotate the sources, you usually got all the points for that or very close to it. If there was something missing, then there would have been a note about it. This week, you will get two things back, though, that the feedback is going to be very important as you draft it, and especially then as you make final changes to it next week. So you may or may not get feedback until late in the week. So on the annotated bibliographies and the outlines. So I would proceed with the draft, but keep in mind that you are going to want to check that feedback and then make any changes needed before the final version. So you may write the draft this week without much of that feedback in mind, but then may make changes based on that. So I will try to get, honestly, I'm going to try to get the outline back quicker than the annotated bibliography, because that's what will help you most when you are writing the paper. So, putting together that first draft, that rough draft. But I did want to mention here that looking over the annotated bibliographies, I noted that many of you are still relying either completely or mostly on websites for your research. And that's not going to be acceptable throughout college. And I am trying to get you into good habits. So if you are not utilizing library resources on this paper, it's going to cause some problems in information literacy. And for sure, when we do the next section, I've got to see evidence that you know how to use the library, because it is going to be something that you will need to do whenever you're writing class papers. Your instructors do not expect your research to come from the web. Not that it can't partially, but you really need to be switching your focus from Google to searching in the library. So I'm going to go over that again with you today, and talk a little bit about, putting together a full draft of the paper. One of the main things in terms of drafting the essay, I would suggest that you write your body paragraphs first, put the thesis at the top of the page, write the body paragraphs, write the conclusion, and then go back and add your introduction. Honestly, one of the hardest things to do is write an introduction to the paper, because a lot of times we end up just saying what we want to say in the body. So save that for last. The other things that I wanted to remind you of in terms of putting that draft together is you need to make sure that obviously you are citing your sources. And if you do still have some sources that are from the web, that's fine. Don't hide them. You do still want to cite them. But I want to see actual library research on this paper. So we'll talk about that more in a second. When you include information from a source, if it's quoted, of course, it'll be obvious because it'll have quotation marks around it, but still has to have that in-text citation that we've been working on. And then you also have to have those in-text citations for anything that you have taken from a source but put in your own words. And that honestly is where most people get into more confusion and more trouble. Don't forget, of course, you can get some help on that from the library and the Learning Center fully online. You, of course, can always ask me questions throughout this week as you're working on the draft. If you have questions, please reach out, let me know, and make use of those other resources if you want to do that as well. So let's talk a little bit about turning it in. So let me go ahead and open the module so that we can see where everything is going to be submitted. So for rough draft resources, and please do go through the materials as usual. There is an argument essay assignment sheet. This, of course, is reminding you of what the requirements are for the essay. This is a sample. This particular one is an argument about banning tanning beds. That's hard to say. It's rhymey. And then, of course, you have a video where Dr. Chansey is walking you through a sample argument essay. I find this kind of thing to be very helpful. I definitely think, take the time to do it. We have the outline guide, and of course that reminds you of kind of the basic structure of an essay. You have your own outline to work off of, and of course your annotated bibliography. Again, there's some reminders of how to do the MLA page format and the citation formats. Those are in this week's resources as well. And then we're going to be reviewing each other's papers. So we are working on things that are related to revision, even, in the next week and especially the next 2 weeks. So here are the some information about how to help with revision. Here is the peer review assignment sheet, so you know how you are being graded on doing the peer reviews. And there is a directional video on how to do that. These will help you with marking Word documents. So these will show you how to do that, which is what you'll need to do on your peer reviews. And then you're going to have your rough draft. So you've got, this is where you will turn it in. This is the discussion. This is where the peer review will take place. So make sure that you read all the directions carefully. And then when you are ready, you will post your paper. You do need to post it as a Word document so that your classmates can edit it and draft, peer review it for you. So you'll post your draft here. And then you're also going to, the next thing is Grammarly report resources. To receive credit on this paper, you must upload a Grammarly report with an overall score of at least 90 and a plagiarism percentage of no more than 10%. And here are your Grammarly resources and a video on how to submit that, how to do that. We do have an additional service here that you can use called Hemingway. It is a program that will help you with editing and revising your own work. There is a link to the Writing Center and to the tutoring services, which I have mentioned before. And then this is where you will turn in your assignment, your draft for me to give you feedback on. So start assignment and you will upload the Word document here as well as on you'll post it 2 places. You're going to post it on the discussion board for peer review, but you're also going to give it to me for review here in this assignment. Okay, so those are the assignments for the week. You technically have 2 things to submit, one being the rough draft and then your reviews of your peers. and then your draft for me. Now, this says the argument essay rough draft needs to be posted by the 15th. That is correct. But you also are going to have until the 22nd to complete the final version of the essay. So you're going to post it by this weekend on the peer review for me and for your classmates, and then you have until the end of next week to finalize it. Okay, so this particular module goes over a 2-week period. So make sure that you do the first half this week, and really the second half you can save until next week. I will come back on Monday of next week and give you some additional information, but please do make sure that you are reading the feedback on the things that I am giving you back, because there are some times when I will give you some advice that you need to take. Other times it's good to take, so to speak. And the library research is one of those times. So I'm going to open the library page and remind you one more time on how to use the library. Okay, so the thing about searching the library versus searching the internet is that we are looking at completely different types of sources. Now, there will be some sources that appear on both things, because say, for example, an article in the New York Times is going to be on newyorktimes.com, but it is also going to come up when we search in the library databases. So there are some overlaps, but you really want to be doing the bulk of your research for any college class on tested library sources. So we come into the library and we click on the libraries button. There are a couple of different ways to search. There is a bar here. So just like you search in Google, you can put your basic search term in here, hit search, and you're going to be finding things from throughout the library resources. So you're going to find videos, and you're going to find books, and you're going to find articles. Personally, I am a fan of targeting specific databases for searching, because finding a whole book on your subject is great, but it is also overwhelming. When we are looking at writing fairly short papers, because these are fairly short papers, articles are going to be more useful in the long run than books. So you notice there's the Primo search, which is searching everything, the databases, and then a link to the library website. So if you click on the databases link, it will allow you to select a database, or you can click on the databases A to Z. There is, over here on the right-hand side, there is a list of the popular databases, and two of these are the two that I would most highly recommend for your use. One is Academic Search Complete, and the other is Opposing Viewpoints in Context. Academic Search Complete is a general database, and it is going to find a little bit of everything. Opposing Viewpoints is specific to argumentative topics, although topics that you're writing about in a non-argumentative way may be available in Opposing Viewpoints as well. But I have steered several of you to Opposing Viewpoints because we are writing an argumentative paper. So you can search either one of those. I'm going to do Academic Search Complete first, because to me, it's one of the easiest to use. And it is a good general database. So let me remember. Hopefully that's right. It is. Yay. I remembered. Oh, except it's going to make me do my security check. Let me get my phone. I appreciate the need for security, but I am really, really tired of having to grab my phone every time I want to do something. And as you guys know, I work for more than one school, so I have to do it every time I line into anything. So anyway, all right. So let's say I want to use, what am I going to use for my topic today? I'm going to use childhood obesity. Why not? It's always a good one. So childhood obesity is my search term. And if I just hit search, which I did, I'm getting a lot of different kinds of things. I'm getting 13,000 articles. It is limited to full text. So everything that it's giving me here, I can see the whole thing. You'll notice there's a whole section of videos, which can be really helpful as well. And then there's all kinds of ways to limit what you're looking at over here on the left. Now, I do not require you to use only peer-reviewed sources. Some do. So clicking peer-reviewed would narrow that down substantially. I also would consider moving the dates. I don't know that an article from 1975 is going to have a lot of relevance today. Granted, obesity is not a problem that started, yesterday. It goes back, but it is sort of a medical topic. So if we're looking at things that are medical in nature, the more current, the better. Even 23 years is maybe a little bit too much. That still left me with over 13,000. So I'm going to go back just 5 years. I think that's reasonable. Let's see what we get if we just go back to 2018. Now we're down to 3,800. Okay. I mean, that's fine. We have 3,700 articles in academic journals. We have 79 in magazines. Typically, newspapers are not going to be helpful, nor are trade publications or book reviews. So I'm going to click on magazines and academic journals and keep both of those. It's still going to give me most of them. I can limit it to a lot of other kinds of things. There are certainly articles here that may not be relevant. I don't know that anybody is going to write about prenatal and childhood exposure to polyfluoroalkyl substances. Like, that's a little crazy. Many of the academic journals are a little over educated for us. So just for curiosity, I'm going to click off of academic journals and just focus on the magazines. Expert perspective on childhood obesity, making progress. So these are much more likely the kinds of things that we would use. And we still have 79 hits. So there's plenty of things that we could write about here. Now, granted, some of these are going to be very short. This is only 1 page. This one's 2 pages. This one's 2 pages. But there again, how in-depth do we want to be in a 3 to 4 page paper? So using this type of resource is absolutely fine. I'm going to click on this one just because it's there, and my arrow was near it. And the other benefit, besides knowing that this is a published source, the other benefit of using library resources is that over here we click the Cite button, and we can scroll down and we can choose the actual MLA citation that we can copy and paste into our Word document. You will have to make sure that the italics stay. There's sometimes they will have the author's name in all caps that we would need to fix, but 90% of the time and 90% of this stuff is going to be accurate. So using this as your source citation is great. We also will note that there's an author. So in my in-text citations, I'm going to have an author and I'm going to have a page number, because the article itself was only on pages 4 and 5. And when I click on the full text, I am able to see pages 4 and 5. So I will know exactly where I got that information from. If I cite something from this paragraph, for example, my in-text citation would be her last name and 5, because I'm on page 5. Okay. So library sources are beneficial in more than one way. Let me really quickly show you the difference when you're searching in opposing viewpoints. It is organized by subject. So if I put in something like childhood obesity, it is one of their premium subjects. You can see that because it's capitalized. We also come up with a little kind of overview of it. So it is a subject that they are well aware of. Now, when you look at their stuff, all of it's arranged differently. You will notice that it is not just one big list. as we saw in Academic Search Complete, but we have what are called featured viewpoints, and academic journals. So these are the three main places that you would be getting your research from. Reference sources would be great for background information and things of that nature, like definitions, things like that. Infographics can be very helpful if you wanted to use an infographic. Typically, we don't really use them or images in our short MLA papers, but down the road, those can be very useful. If you are an audio person, we do have a list of audio files that you can listen to. So things like from podcasts and stuff of that nature. Videos, of course, as well, too. Magazine articles, statistics, news typically, like I said, will not work. The other nice thing though here is that this does give you some websites that are kind of pre-selected. So there's even related subtopics down below if that wasn't exactly what you were looking for. So opposing viewpoints can be super helpful. Viewpoints are arguments. So any of these from the 65 viewpoints or the 5 featured viewpoints are going to be things that are argumentative themselves. And I just want to open one because the citation is a little bit different. The citation location is a little bit different in opposing viewpoints. It is going to be at the bottom of the page, unlike the other one, which was over on the right. So the default one is the MLA9 one, which is what we need. So we would highlight this, copy it, and paste it into our document. Now, we are not looking at a PDF. The article is just on this page for us. So this time we're going to have Castman's name in our in-text citation and nothing else, unless you wanted to go through and number the paragraphs. Honestly, this one is not very long, so you could definitely number the paragraphs and use paragraph numbers instead. But you won't have page numbers because we are not looking at the original page numbers. Okay, so all this to say, if you have nothing but websites on your annotated bibliography, then you do need to add some library research. It's just that simple. And if you need more help with it, please let me know. I'm happy to help. We do, of course, also have librarians who are aces at this kind of thing. So don't be afraid to ask for extra help with that and on your drafting. Okay. Everybody have a great week and I will see you next week.